everyone. I am so appreciative that you would tune into my show. Thank you so much. Welcome back to EllynwithaY Goes Live. The music that you are listening to at the beginning of the show, my intro, I always just like kill a little time, is Corinne Grace. She is an incredible artist. She's someone I've promoted on my Instagram the last couple of weeks. Amazing Black woman who I want to elevate and amplify voices. So definitely take a listen to her music. She's really cool. I joined her live yesterday and she's awesome. So, hi everyone. I have been on a bit of a hiatus. Wow, this is a weird episode to do by myself in my apartment. So I've been on a bit of a hiatus because I wanted to take some time away from the show to allow for space for other voices to be heard, to clear up space in whatever space I take up in your life on a Tuesday for a half hour. Usually it feels like it's longer. To allow you to use that time to hopefully dive into and educate yourselves about what's going on, because there's a lot going on and I feel compelled to use like whatever voice I have for good. So I need to go to the notes because I'm very emotional this evening. Woo-hoo-hoo. EllynwithaY. So I think maybe I was too quiet before. I think maybe I didn't show what I was listening to in my podcasts, and maybe it wasn't obvious by the types of shows I was promoting here. And maybe I wasn't communicating what books I've been reading and what articles really resonated with me, or maybe I only sent it to a couple people that I thought also felt similarly to me. But this has been a big wake-up call that I have an obligation to my friends and to my family to, oh my God, no more white tears. It's not what's needed right now. Holy shit. I have an obligation to my friends and to my family to speak up and to reach out to the people in my life who I know have a heart to join the conversation and be vocal for change in this world, and maybe just have been intimidated or afraid to say the wrong thing. That is often the conversation that I have. And I'm so grateful for people who have opened the door to that conversation with me. I've had a lot of really good phone calls, a lot of really good FaceTimes in the last couple of weeks talking about, like, I want to meet you where you are. I want to start having these conversations with you. Racial injustice and systemic racism it's everywhere. It's like, to think that you are like absolved or unbiased in some way is to like, it's actually unbelievable. And so for me, what I want to do, where I know I can make changes in conversations with people who have a heart for it. And I think I can also, make impact in that the people in my circle. So you have to understand, like, what my social media looks like is, it is all on activism right now. All the people around me, everyone that's posting. And so, when I'm sharing, I wonder, maybe it's homogenous. Like, maybe we're all just talking to each other and talking about what we should be doing, and we're doing things, and we're all signing the petitions, and we're donating. I mean, I might be going bankrupt this week with the donations. I need to budget. But I'm seeing the same things that I'm posting on other people's feeds, and I'm sharing what I can, but I'm hopeful that by me having conversations with people around me, family, friends, that what I'm saying and doing, and that you're now going to say and do, and what you're committed to, and where your heart is, you can post on social media, and you can share what your protests you're attending, and you can share on what you believe in, and petitions, etc. And it can start as a ripple effect from my social and my heart to your social and your heart, because social media seems to be the only place we can really see and hear each other right now, that I hope it becomes like a tidal wave of change, and that it kind of ripples out from there. And that's really important to me. And so I've been using my voice offline and calling for justice for Breonna Taylor and calling on the governor is it Kentucky? Yes. And I mean, I've gone so far as to comment on his wife's Instagram posts, like, let's go, you're the first lady, wear the mantle right. Like, I can't. So that's been a big thing for me the last 2 weeks. And so I stepped back so that I was not going to do my show. And hopefully in the conversations that I'm having, people are going and getting educated and learning about what they don't know. I learned yesterday a couple of I say a lot of like colloquialisms. I say a lot of like really weird phrases. I feel like everybody knows that. It's ones I make up and then ones that are just like old timey. But then you like learn the origin of those old timey phrases, and it is horrifying where they come from. Today in a meeting, I like off the cuff said one of the phrases I had just learned yesterday that I committed I wasn't going to say. And I said it in a meeting and I stopped myself and I said, you know what? I said it out loud in front of there's like 6 people on the call. I said, oh, you know what? That's actually a really bad phrase. It has a really horrific history and etymology steeped in racism in this country. It's something I shouldn't say. I'm not going to say it anymore. I'm calling myself on it here in front of everyone, and we just moved on. And actually somebody else pointed out another phrase that you shouldn't say. And because it's like really steeped in a lot of like prejudice and racism. And like, no one's a perfect ally. First of all, you should let somebody else, like the people who are being oppressed, you should let that person call you an ally. Shouldn't just wear that on your own. And also, there's no such thing as a perfect ally, right? You have to start where you are. You have to go and find information and search it out and learn. And if I can hop on a phone call with you and articulate anything for you, if I can jump in and just help you get started, like that's really what I want to be able to do. And I think that that's what I want my platform and using my voice here. I want to be able to do that. I think something that's really important that, I'm reading everywhere, but maybe not everyone's reading everywhere, is that you really shouldn't be asking a Black person, Black women, to explain this to you. A couple months ago, the internet all went crazy learning how to make banana bread. And that's just it. You learned. You searched the internet, you found the right recipe, and you learned. So this is the same. You're going to search the internet, you're going to find, reputable resources, and you're going to learn. And if you don't know, and I actually am a good cook, so you want to ask me, then ask me. Use that analogy. Reach out to me. Say something happened and you felt really weird about it, or you felt bad, or you felt awkward, or you don't think you handled something right. Like, let's talk about it. I think that analogy can be made for so many things about like, I was just talking to my really, really good friend Eva earlier about, breathing light onto something that, you felt shameful about. If you breathe light into it, the dark has to go hide. I'm butchering it, Eva, but that's the genesis of it. That's the basic of it. And so it's really important to use your resources and go and learn. Everything is like online. There's little short videos. Like, it literally couldn't be easier to immerse yourself. And I think the biggest thing I would say is immerse yourself in Black storytelling. Like, a big part of the problem is people have like dehumanized them. Like, if you don't know and love someone that is being oppressed right now, you can't understand it. It's not your skin. It's not your walking in life. But if you can watch stories that help you see people and it humanizes their stories, then it will feel so much more imperative to you the way that it does to me. No white tears. Let's just read a comment really quick. It's exhausting. I've had so many people come to me and speak on behalf of all of my Black community, and I can only speak on my own experiences and what I know. Like, educate yourself. You're so right. Yes. So that's a big point. Like, you can't ask one person, the one person, it's like, so that's like a whole other, that's next week. You can't ask one person for their one experience to speak to the whole experience. I can't speak to what it's like for all plus size women. I can only speak to like my plus size experience. So, and I want to shout out my guest, Shanna Tyler. I should shouted you out at the top of the show. I am rusty AF. Shanna Tyler is an absolutely incredible resource that you guys could definitely go check out her page, learn a lot from. She has an incredible diversity and inclusion panel that she's going to get really real about in 2 weeks that you guys can sign up for. All proceeds will go to NAACP, and we're going to talk about that when Shanna comes on a little bit later in the show. So if you see me like hyping her up all over my Instagram stories the last couple of weeks, like she's awesome. Like I've been watching her lives on Tuesdays. I hope that me DMing her live to everyone has been well received, because I've just been watching your show. I'm like, let's alternate weeks. Maybe EllynwithaY is like an every other week show. And so I want to make sure I touch on all the points, because like my friend Shanna knows, it's good to have yourself organized when you're talking about something that is potentially can have your emotions running high. And so I want to speak a little bit about like what you can do. I think it's super important that you obviously need to go educate and learn. If you want to have a conversation, if I can help get you to the, across some threshold that you might be stuck at right now, or are fearful of speaking up or using your voice. I listened to a really good podcast with Dr. Kendi. He's the author of the, I always talk about Dr. Kendi, and then I'm like, I think it's How to Be Anti-Racist. And he was on like Brene Brown's podcast, and he basically explained, I have a hard time understanding when people don't understand what's going on. I don't know, maybe it's where I grew up, that I'm fortunate. I talk about this on the show all the time. I think that diversity is also a privilege, that I grew up in a place that was diverse, and that my world, everyone doesn't look like me. I sometimes take that for granted. I know it's been a lot to reckon with in the last couple of weeks, that maybe I've taken how I walk through life for granted, and that not everyone thinks the way that I think, and has the friends I have and the family I have, and it's beautiful and colorful, and like diversity really is a privilege. My life is only better because of all the different people in it. Like I couldn't imagine if everybody. And so the podcast, so Brene Brown said, I'm really confused how people don't get this. How do they not get it? How do they not get that we have, like when we say systemic racism, it's everywhere. I mean, I think maybe it's part of the reason why, diet culture is so pervasive, and a lot of women don't even realize that we're hating ourselves because we're being told to, not because we actually hate ourselves. Like it's just it's a part of you. You're breathing in dust particles of racism and hatred every day. And it's just like, put on your mask, because the Rona is real, and so is racism. And he made she asked, how do people not know? And so he basically made this analogy I thought was really helpful, so you're basically walking up to someone and you tell them, it's raining, you're soaking wet. And they look down and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm completely dry, it's not raining. And then you have other people where you walk up to them and you say, it's raining, you're completely wet, you're standing in a puddle. And they're like, what? And then they look down and they look back up, and they're drenched, and they're standing in a puddle, and they're confused. And if you're currently drenched and standing in a puddle and confused, let's talk. Let's get the information. Let's help make you feel comfortable to then speak to somebody else who you can see is standing in a puddle. And you want to help them. Because if we all don't get this right, if we don't keep this from being a moment, it has to be a movement. This has to be sustained. If you haven't seen some of the messages of how long some of this activism work has taken in our country, the Montgomery bus, again, see, not getting it right always, boycott lasted over a year. Like, this is going to take time, and we have social media to our benefit, and we have to use it. And so that's how I feel about this situation. I feel like it is our responsibility. We have a moral obligation. It's not enough. It is not enough anymore to just say this is wrong. And being anti-racist is actively moving and making change, donating to the funds that can help benefit the cause, signing the petitions that are necessary. Breonna Taylor's murderers are still out there. I think a lot of women can relate to being overlooked, to feeling fearful for their bodies in a space. Women. Now imagine if you've been learning about the Black experience in the last couple of weeks, if this is new for you, imagine the intersectionality of that and the fear and what that must feel like. You could never understand it. But I think as women, it's super important to understand where we do have common identity and speak up, you know? Moms, sisters, aunts, cousins, you know? So what can you do? Well, my pal, Shanna Tyler, has made a really beautiful graphic, which she posted on her Instagram, and then I reposted on my Instagram. And it's really, really, really real. That's Shayna's language, really real. 5 steps that really resonated with me and I think are really easy. So 5 steps. 1, educate yourself and others. See, action, you know, I say this on the show a lot. Love is an action word. So show me with your actions that you are not only educating yourself, but others. Talk about it, share it on social media. You know, if that's the only way I'm seeing you in this COVID world, I hate to say it, but share, post. If you can't share because of whatever reason, you know, people have DM'd me privately and told me, you know, they have reasons why they can't publicly post, whatever they may be, which are things we should all be aware of. Maybe it has to do with citizenship. Maybe it has to do with their employer. You know, there's other things you can do. You can show that you're shopping in Black-owned stores. You can show that you're ordering in Black-owned restaurants. There's a lot that you can do. That brings me to 2, donate to nonprofits and causes. You know, I think that something everyone is hearing a lot about is like performative allyship and basically like showing that you're an ally. But like, if I'm posting a receipt of literally where I've donated to, it's only one of many that I've donated to. And 2, it's only because I'm trying to push other people to donate too. It's not like I'm not out here being like, look at what I donated to. Like, that's ridiculous. What I'm trying to do is, you know, like yesterday, my friend RJ, he works at Amazon and they're matching 100% up to 10 grand. So I made my donation to his Venmo. This sounds so weird, but to his Venmo. But I know him, he's reputable, he's good people, and he's reliable, and he's a community organizer. And so I shared that I also donated so that I could implore others to donate, because I sometimes can be a little bit like, you know, you're like, oh, I'm donating to a Venmo. Like, I get it. I'm also like cautious. I'm trying to be fiscally responsible, but like, dude, I have not tallied how much I've donated. So, you know, definitely donate to nonprofits and causes. 3, check in on your Black friends. I think that this has come with, there was like a post I saw that was like, you know, I think checking in on your Black friends. I think that you're not trying to like, don't reach out in some kind of like tokenistic way. You need to reach out in like an authentic way, and also expect nothing. Like, I think the best thing you can do is like, you don't have to answer this. Just know I'm thinking of you. I love you. I'm here. If you want to talk, you can. If you don't, that's also cool too. Don't even bother answering if you don't feel like it. Just letting somebody know you're thinking about them in a tough time universally is a nice thing to do. But I think even myself, I was angry after Ahmaud. I was angry after Breonna. And then after George Floyd, someone in my own office spoke up and said something in a meeting. And it just made me think. And this makes me so angry and makes me want to do something, and I get up and I'm doing something, but I'm like, I have my own people in my life I need to check on that told me, reach out. And so I did. And then I found out maybe I was probably the only white friend to reach out. And then that's so sad. And that can't continue. Everybody, if it's uncomfortable, get uncomfortable. get uncomfortable so you can get comfortable. Like, there's still parts of this that are uncomfortable. So keep talking about it. Like, I feel like maybe there was a part of me years ago that was like, that's not me. I'm not that. I'm not a racist. And instead of hiding from that, I ran in the direction of it. I consumed content and stories and podcasts that contradicted any kind of a bias that I was feeling, because that's not my heart. Maybe that's what my head, maybe that's what systemic racism does to you. Maybe coming up in an education system that's completely racist does to you, but that's not my heart. So every time I felt some kind of a something, I was like, nope, we're going to run right in the direction of that story, that message, that narrative, whatever it was that made me feel some type of way, and check it, because that's not how my heart is. That's not where my heart is. And, oh, Ali, Prince Ali, you are a real one. I join your lives every night. So yeah, so check in on your friends, check in on your Black friends. Also, it's like, say Black. I feel like a lot of people are uncomfortable saying Black. I found that a lot we'll move on. I've seen that people stumble over that a lot, but just like lean in, get uncomfortable to get comfortable. 4, I hate that phrase, feel some type of way. What type of way do you feel? Me to my kids all the time. I don't know how I feel, Gabby. I just feel some type of way about it. I don't have a word for it yet. That's why I just feel some type of way. Okay, 4, sign petitions and call your reps. Like, it's so easy to do that right now. It's like insane. So even if it's like you can't show up in any other way, sign petitions and call reps. And it's a lot to do all the time. I think something I read was that like a lot of activists burn out and then they never come back to the cause. That's not what we need right now. We need people to sustain the movement. So if you need to take a couple days off from focusing on all of this, which is really hard to do because, we have a group of people who cannot take a day off, but you also have to check your own mental health. And like, if you need some time, then take some time, but then maybe dedicate an hour a day to like, what can I do today? What can I sign? What email can I send? What phone call can I make? Because these government agencies are only operating 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because all my calls on Saturday were pointless. That's why I found his wife on Instagram. Governor Bashar. I didn't even know who he was. I didn't even know who he was 4 weeks ago. And now I'm all up in his wife's Instagram imploring her as the first lady to bring some justice. Oh, Lord. Okay. And then 5, volunteer your skills to support. And that is what I am doing right now. I use my voice offline. I've spoken and had really, really good conversations, helping people come forward. I think often, sometimes there's bias in the immigrant story. I am a first-generation college student. My nonni came here to America from Sicily, and their family started their life here. And I think that something that has been a really useful language for me is, this like pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. Like, the system in America was designed to deny bootstraps to people who were brought here against their will. Whereas my own immigrant story is knowing what we knew about this nation, we still came here. And because of the color of our skin, we're not kept from getting bootstraps and then pulling ourselves up from said bootstraps. It was not easy. There was our own version of discrimination. There was our own issues that were dealt with. Definitely, if you don't know about the Italian-American experience in the South in America, definitely look into it. You will find more commonality than I think a lot of Italians will realize. But I think that using my voice, using my own experience in life to try to help bring a lot of people forward is what I can do. I took my time off of the show to amplify and elevate. I want to continue to use my show Same with Irish immigrants. Oh my God, I heard a very interesting post yesterday about the origins of policing. Definitely, you guys should look into the origins of policing and who were made into police, Irish. And it's very interesting way to keep, the like low income white people in a position of trying to keep other people beneath them so that they felt like they were at least doing better than the next guy. I mean, it's like so psychological. It's like, okay. Trying to talk high level broad strokes so we can all be on the same page, but there's a lot to learn, people. I'm also trying to not break this. Also, I've been going for 30 minutes, so I just want everyone to know that I can do longer lives now because Instagram allows me to put the live right onto IGTV, so like it'll be up after this. All right, so on that note, I'm going to do a very, very abbreviated top half of the show because that was the last 30 minutes. So sorry. And basically, I just really quickly realized that like I would have come on here and talked about like, Memorial Day and Thanksgiving, any holiday. And so I feel like it is right and just to amplify and elevate what Juneteenth is, because I don't think a lot of people know what that is. Ditto, Polish immigrants found it's made my family more hard-nosed about the bootstrapping and how we did it. So many conversations still to have. Exactly. Absolutely. Like if you're a product of an immigrant story, we've got to strip away the like we did it, like that's not real in the construct of a system that is like fully against anyone who doesn't look white. Juneteenth. So and if it wasn't clear, I'll probably be talking about a lot of this kind of stuff for a very long time. So this is the new Ellyn with a Y. So I just want to highlight Juneteenth is also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, and Celebration Day, is an American holiday celebrated annually on June 19th to commemorate June 19th, 1865, when Union General Gordon Granger read federal orders in Galveston, Texas, that all previously enslaved people in Texas were free. If you would like to learn more about it in a way that is digestible, there was a fantastic Blackish episode. Thank you, Kenya Barris. It was really very good. And then also, if you haven't watched, if you like Blackish, which I love Blackish, if you haven't watched Black AF on Netflix, it is a show featuring Kenya Barris, who is the writer, producer, creative mind behind Blackish, Mixedish, Grownish, or Youngish. Yes, those shows. The Ish. He's so funny. Honestly, guys, Black AF is so good. It's really funny. There is a lot there, and there's also one of the episodes touches on Juneteenth as well. So that's an American holiday, and everybody who is an American should be acknowledging, observing, and celebrating. And maybe use that day to amplify some voices and share some messages. And so basically my what to watch, guys, was Blackish and Black AF. And just to put a little bit of spice on top of that, again, because I think watching stories and learning about this via, Netflix and other documentaries, I think something that really connects and humanizes is this book and movie called The Hate U Give. It's fantastic. It is a story that I think can really resonate with a lot of people and is very, very, very compelling. It's about a young girl who, I don't want to spoil it, but it's dealing very, very much with what's going on right now in police brutality and murdering, and the fallout of a community after the fact. And then to dive into police and policing and understanding why people are saying defund the police, which I cannot explain succinctly in the time I have to now move into my interview. But you should definitely watch a show on Netflix. It's called Patriot Act, with Hassan Minhaj. I don't know if you know this, but I'm like in love with him. He's perfect. And he did an episode on policing, the broken policing system, and very, very clearly explained. I didn't even know anything about unions and police unions a couple weeks ago, and I definitely didn't understand the implications of prosecutors who work shoulder to shoulder with cops every other day of the week, being the same prosecutors that have to charge the cops with murder So that's a huge problem and conflict of interest I did not know about. So now I do know about it. And you should definitely watch those shows. So you've got Blackish, Juneteenth episode, Black AF, hilarious, very, very funny. Rashida Jones is in it, fantastic. I love her so much from The Office, from everything, literally from everything. And then definitely watch The Hate U Give. It's super good. I'm seeing in the comments people love it. It's very heavy on the heart, but it's a really good movie. And then also the policing, says Broken Policing System by Patriot Act. If you just go and watch those things over the next couple of weeks, that should not be the only thing that you do. You should be doing more and getting educated, but do those things now. Okay. So moving into my interview portion of the show, I'm going to welcome on an incredible person. And Shanna, I'm going to search for you in the names now. But I want to highlight that Shanna is a brand coach, wellness blogger. She is keeping it really real. She is a content extraordinaire, a community founder at also Self Soul Sport, which she'll talk a little bit about. I see your request, so I'm going to bring her on now. Shanna Tyler. Yay!
Hi!
Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you.
I am so happy to see you, and thank you for all the love prior to me coming on. I was just like, yes, give it to me. And also, thank you. Thank you for holding this space. I want to come on here and just say thank you. I think, the place that you're coming from is so genuine and it's so heartfelt. And even our conversation in the pre-show, y'all, on Sunday, it was just so lovely to connect with you. We've known each other before this, right? And just thank you. I think this is wonderful what you're doing today. And it's great to have you back on the show.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's good. I was nervous at the top of it because I haven't done it in a while. It was funny even setting up. I was like, oh God, I haven't done this in a minute. And I always kind of turn to jokes to like lighten things, but also I'm like, no, I want this to have a different vibe. So I was just like, let's just go head into the uncomfortableness and make it be vulnerable. Let's be honest.
Let's do it. Let's get real.
So I'm so excited that you're here. Guys, I couldn't speak more highly of you. I feel like I'm trying to not take up too much time with just complimenting you because I want you to have time to speak. I want you to first, so I have been loving your life. I love your content in general. So I want to first like set the stage with like who you are, what you were doing, what you do, and then kind of talk a little bit about, everything and everything else. But if you could speak a little bit about like what do you do, Shanna Tyler, and Self Soul Sport?
Yeah, so I'm Shanna. I am a brand coach, so I work with wellness solopreneurs. I've actually just gotten back into that, so I'm super excited. I actually just sent an agreement over and working with a client I've worked with in the past, so it's super exciting. And also, I am the founder of the community, Self Soul Sport, which is a virtual online community for women to discuss how they love themselves, nurture their souls, and live their sports. What's really nice about that is it's just an amazing group of women with so many backgrounds, and Black women, white women, Latina women, Asian women, everybody, is there. And it's just such a powerful community. So yeah, that's what I do. And I will say I'm recently a plant mom. So I love to feature my plants everywhere. This is Sasha, and this is got Philip yesterday. So that's a quick note too.
So cute. My plant is across the room, but it's still alive. So that's good.
That's good.
Shockingly still alive in my world. I want to really take a second for everyone that's watching. So, brand coaching is, I think, helping someone articulate, like, it's so interesting. I've had so many different people on, and, there's a lot of like, well, I do this and I do that and I do a little bit of that and I'm trying to do a little bit of this and I'm not sure where I want to go with that. And I think that if you are on the precipice of, you need to go somewhere and you want to go somewhere with what it is that you're doing, like my own show, for example, like working with someone like Shanna is really helpful because you can have somebody hear all the things you're saying who has a trained ear and a trained experience and knows what's what and how to articulate it back to you in a way that becomes a plan. So for anybody, like I have a lot of friends that are watching this right now. I'm like speaking to you. I know you know I'm speaking to you. Like, please reach out to Shanna after this because she's gonna help you go from like where you are now and break into where you want to go. That's I'm telling the people watching.
I didn't even have to do a pitch about, you know, testimonials and all that stuff. I love it. Thank you, Ellyn. That was so easy. No, I will that a lot of my work has to do also with accountability, because definitely don't want to take up all this time here with this, but I definitely think that, you know, for us, especially when creatives, we have ideas in their, you know, we have ideas in our minds. We're living in that land, but to really have a soundboard and be able to say, hey, I have this idea for my brand. I want to go in this direction, that direction, and being able to have someone saying, hey, you know, this sounds great. How can you succinctly like put this in a sentence? What's your mission with this? What's your purpose? What's your why? Who are you talking to? Who's your ideal client? All those things. And when you write them down, it's so powerful, and it's just like a brand book for you. So reference.
I literally couldn't speak more highly about this. I'm literally seeing in the comments, like, we're reaching out. Like, yes, girl. Yes. Okay. So you're usually talking about brand coaching, wellness content, accountability. I mean, literally just your posts are very like, they just touch my heart, like soul sport, like soul. I would say like it's the soul communication that I get when we're on Instagram. And I think that in the last couple of weeks, obviously with the world and everything going on, I know that you have included, I'm not saying pivoted, you included a lot more messaging, more pointed messaging via some lives that you did. So you did 2 Instagram lives. It was a 2-part series. The first being my Black experience, Black Lives Matter and more. And then the second one being how you, me, and we move forward with Black Lives Matter. And you really spoke a lot about D&I, and so, which is diversity and inclusion for those who don't know. And so I really want to give you some time to talk about why you felt compelled to do those lives and amplify voices in that, and the voice in that space, and how you came to putting those together.
Yeah, I would say the first one, my Black experience, Black Lives Matter and more. That was really one that I felt compelled to, because there was such a height of conversation amongst a lot of my fellow Black entrepreneurs, my fellow Black wellness coaches, you know, bloggers, all the things, highway. And, you know, it was just really, really nice to be able to see them really hold space, share more about their experiences. And it just was a chain reaction for me. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm going to schedule mine on Tuesday night. I'm going to come with receipts. I'm going to come with a whole bunch of different articles, and I'm just going to go for it. And it honestly was such a great experience, because it allowed me, so I realized afterward that it allowed me to get out a lot too. I was going through a lot of my own feelings. It brought up a lot for me these past few weeks, and it's definitely, I've been talking to a lot of my Black friends, and, you know, especially a lot of Black women, and I really like that they highlight intersectionality, because that's huge. As women and as Black women, our bodies, like, we are, honestly, my experience is that walking at this time of night at 10 o'clock, like 10:30, almost close to 11, isn't a reality. I'm scared. I'm scared now also more than ever. I'm way more aware of where I'm walking. I'm way more aware of people close to me. And that's not even social distancing. That's you know, a fear. So that internal feeling, I knew I needed to get out, and the way that I communicate best is in words. So I can well in blog posts and spoken and things like this, in Instagram lives or podcast episodes, and being able to process. And also, I wanted to educate. In my second Instagram live, it was primarily on, what do you do now? What do you, me, and we do now? And I realized that the conversation was dwindling. It was shifting. I noticed that diversity was also something that was getting confused with inclusivity and inclusion. I would also like to highlight now that diversity is not the same as inclusion, right? So D&I exists because D&I is important. So D&I ensures that you're not just checking a box and saying, hey, I hit the amount of Black people in the company, Latinas in the company, Asians in the company, right? Whatever you need in the company. But it's really about what systems are you putting in place so that folks feel included? Are you celebrating their months? Are you celebrating them? Are you including them as seats, as people at the table, right? I really think that's important as well to highlight that, you know, we can say all we want about diversity, but are you also being inclusive?
It's an action word.
And
I feel like so many people miss the action part of this, right? The reason why you can't just not be racist. That doesn't exist. You have to be anti-racist. I think, you know, there's an interesting quote about like the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference, right? If you feel indifference, it means that there's no action, there's no feeling. It's just I don't even care anymore. So action, you have to take action against the bad action. Like, I don't think people get it. So inclusivity means not just the box tick of this person has been hired. Are they empowered? Are they in a position to feel comfortable to speak up and use their voice? Are they the only person at your company that looks like them? Because that probably is not going to make them feel like they can speak up. Like, these are really real conversations that people need to have. And people who look like me need to feel comfortable asking that question in a room and using your voice and your position that you have to speak up. And like, that's what we mean by anti-racist. That's me putting voice action to my heart. To have to do it, action. So you spoke really, I mean, I was literally getting chills, which means I'm so excited that you actually are going to go deeper and dive deeper into the conversation around, oh my God, my notes are so long on everything we want to talk about. I was like, wait, where did I go? So I really am excited that you had already planned an event that is called A Really Real Panel with Black Women on Race, Diversity, and Inclusion. Can you talk a little bit about that and the talent that you're going to have coming? I mean, I did a little snooping on Instagram. We got some like big name talent coming through. So definitely, if you wouldn't mind speaking about it and talking about it.
yes, so Cells for a Really Real Panel with Black women on race, diversity, and inclusion was something I was thinking about. So I was thinking already about this before George Floyd, before, you know, we found out more about Breonna Taylor, before all of these things. And it's so important because I already had this on my mind throughout COVID-19, especially when you look at the demographics of who really is being affected by COVID-19. That was what was on my head more so. And then we started really looking at the statistics of police brutality. And now this conversation is even more important now. So that said, when I started getting the talent together, I love calling them the talent too. I love your background. You're like, the talent. I love that. I'm like, I have the talent.
Yeah, it's very a fish.
I know. So I knew for sure I wanted to get diverse Black women of diverse backgrounds. So that said, I have Ariel Belgrave, who is an amazing fitness instructor. She just announced that she is now an instructor for Tone It Up, which is a huge brand. And I'm so excited for her. And she also created the Lean method, which is a great program. And she's launching that to really hold people accountable, especially at this time, and, you know, staying active and staying moving. And also I have Charlene Azir, who is amazing as well. She comes from an entrepreneurial background and she is great. I would say that, you know, she is someone that I've always looked up to in the entrepreneur space. She's been working for herself for a long time. And then I have Stephanie Robertson, who is the director of D&I at Duke University. So it's bringing a wide different, I love your face.
It's impressive. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, guys, everyone get your tickets now. I already bought mine.
Yeah, so I would say tickets are available in my bio or the Self Soul Sport page as well. And I would say what's so great about this crew is that they're just so passionate already. Stephanie's been doing the work. Arielle's been doing the work. She's been showing up in the health and fitness space that is predominantly white. I say it's predominantly white. And Charlene has just been awesome. And, Black entrepreneurs, especially Black women, are growing at the fastest rate of entrepreneurship. We are rocking it. We are starting our own businesses. We are side hustling. We are really growing. And I'm just so proud of us.
And it's so important to continue to, like we said, this is a movement, not a moment.
Yeah.
Right? So this event is in 2 weeks. It's next weekend. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to say what it is. Y'all, Saturday, June 27th, 1 p.m. Eastern to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be a lot of me discussing with Ariel, Charlene, and Stephanie what their experiences are.
And everyone, it's really great because it's a sliding scale from tickets, and proceeds go to NAACP. So again, like action, donating, you're getting education. I mean, like, if you're trying to like check off the boxes of like what you can do every day, like this is a very good thing that you can do. You're donating, you're amplifying, Black women and their voices. You are learning and getting educated yourself. I mean, like, this is like, you want to talk about some self-care? Like, this is all around good things for everyone. So I've got my ticket. I'm reserved. I'm ready to go. I'm going to post did I not post my receipt already? I thought I did. Maybe not.
Did
I? I'll repost it. I'll repost it. I feel like this is maybe one of those things that, like, these used to be in person. Yes.
Yes.
So like this would have been something like brunch and go to the Self Soul Sport event, right? So guys, open your laptops, let's go, get your drink and show up. Show up for people that you care about, your love, show up, and it's so important. So I'm so excited that you're doing it. I'm so excited that you're doing it.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited, and I've been telling everyone to bring notebooks because we are coming through. I'm going to have a whole list of stats. I'm coming a ton of questions for these ladies. It's not a joke. It's not a game. Like, I'm excited. Like, I'm just like, even like kind of flustered. I'm like, yes, let's go.
I love it. And like, there's so much to learn. And I feel like something I'm seeing a lot of right now is that people are like writing definitions and defining things they've seen in the world. I know we spoke a little bit about this, about a comment that I saw on Instagram. I think a lot of people are seeing things and are waking up to the wetness that's around them, with my Dr. Kendi analogy, the rain, the puddle that they're standing in, and they can see it, but they don't know the words for it. I think I saw in my comments, somebody was talking about, a CEO that said, it's good to be Black, but not too Black. And that has to do with like palatability and whiteness. And I think, and I don't know everything. Like, that's my first thing. I don't know everything. I'm consuming a lot. I'm hearing keywords. I'm hearing words that then I can find the definitions to, so that I can understand that thing that someone's saying, like, right, there is more to it. Then there's history, there's science behind it, there's psychology. And so what's really exciting is that when you can plug into an event like this and to listen to a creator like you, that you can learn the actual like words, you can see and become educated, and then you too know the word, and then you go and tell somebody else the word, right? It's like this, I'm talking about this ripple effect. I think the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was, speaking of brands and growing and entrepreneurship, something I heard, I think it was Musings of a Curvy Girl. It was live. I think it was her live. Really stunning plus size blogger, fashion blogger. She's also Black. And she was talking about, thank you for all the new followers. I appreciate you, but please continue to engage with my content, because and I want everyone to really think about this, because not everyone thinks in terms of the science of algorithms and Instagram, right? And influencers. But if you're not, you go and you follow all these accounts because you are compelled to do so. If you go and follow these accounts and then you don't interact with these accounts after you followed them, if you don't go and seek them out because they're new, so they're not necessarily going to show up right away all the time. If you don't go and seek them out, and this is you literally showing Instagram that you want to see that content, it's not going to show up, which means you're going to miss it in your feed. You're going to miss it in your stories. You're not going to engage with the content. That means that it's not going to show up for you. You're not going to like it. You're not going to comment. You're not going to post. You're not going to share. That means that that influencer's engagement is going to go down, and it's going to hurt them in the long run. So you can also take action and show up for people by continuing to show up. It's a movement, not a moment.
Woo!
I mean, I'm like, there's so many things to talk about, but like, I mean, this is like one I want to make sure that like, if there's new followers happening in this moment, it's a big thing people are doing, you have to be conscious of it.
It really is. And I will say, this also is people's coin. Like, this is people's lives, right? So if your follower count grows, your engagement count also needs to grow with it in order to be matched with the compensation that you're looking for that amount of follower count that you have. So there is the algorithm. There also is the brand side where they really are looking at, okay, do the numbers match up with her engagement and et cetera? And, you know, there's already enough barriers. Let's keep the engagement up. Let's also, and I also would love to say here that it's also time for us to keep other brands accountable too. You know, if we're still noticing that they're not getting their act together, if we notice that they've posted their black square and, you know, they maybe highlighted a few people, and let's keep them accountable as well. Let's go into their DMs and say, hey, that's great. You know, you did that around like early June, but what are you doing now? Yeah. I have steps. Let's hold brands accountable as well, because that's super important too. I would say that's another thing that I would love to highlight, is that not only on the Black influencer and not only on our social media, but also let's keep holding these brands accountable. Tag certain influencers that you like too. Say, hey, have you guys seen this person? They're an authority. They should be on here. You know, there's a lot that we can do now. For sure, that
brands have to get this right.
Yeah.
Because right now, everyone is being judged in the court of public opinion. And you have to get it right as an advertiser. And if you are not, like, you can't divorce the world of capitalism from exactly what's happening. And like, use your dollar to show that you are taking control of how you contribute to this society, right? I mean, there's a lot of brands that we see where they're donating their money to, and you can choose to not shop there. You can choose to not eat that chicken sandwich. And so that, on top of how quickly do they move on to their, I think a big part of it is like going back to normal programming. What the hell? No, there is no going back to anything. Not normal before COVID, not normal before 3 weeks ago. There is no going back. When you are waking up, the collective conscious is waking up. We are now in a new era, right? So brands need to realize they can't go back to the posts that they had planned a week ago.
No,
it's all new. I'm doing the hard work currently now myself. New shit.
Yep, that content calendar is trash now. You in Q4, you need to plan out a whole new Q3, Q4. You need to go spreadsheets. You need to go into whatever content calendar you have and say, ooh, no, I need to fix this. I need that. That has to be a priority ASAP. And the people that aren't are going to be held accountable. It's just going to happen.
And it's going to be obvious, because something I'm seeing a lot of is, and there's a conversation, right, about like feeds going back to, how do you split the difference on activism in your feed and sharing that you had a great latte because you finally left the apartment in 3 days? Me? No, I leave the apartment all the time. And so I think balancing is important. Holding yourself personally accountable. Okay. For every sunbathing picture, am I also showing, like, I did sign a petition today. Like, how do we hold brands accountable, because they are the big forces of finance right now? And like, how do we make sure that they are continuing to show representation and their commitment to the cause and the movement? But how do we hold ourselves accountable so that our feeds aren't glazing over and going to this world that is divorced from what is real. You know, there's still protests happening. There are still, like, you know, protest occupied places that are, you know, very peaceful as well. You should look into it, people. Chaz, like, there's still so much going on, and it's not, you can't just like shut off and completely divorce from the messaging in your social feeds and in the feeds of the people you follow.
And it's also something that I've been seeing in a meme, and also a part of the conversation, is that it's a privilege to even consider not thinking about racism today. I'm just not about racism today. I'm not gonna engage with that content today. I'm not gonna think about it today. That's a privilege in itself.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Implore people, anyone, you know, thinking about that, thinking about their sunbathing photo, or, you know, a race, you know, post, really think about it and say, is this something that is coming from a place of privilege, and explore that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I do feel that is where I am right now. So what can I do?
Exactly. I think that is so important, and it's actually a really good place to I'm also watching like lives die after an hour. If you did you know? I didn't know that. That's a really good place for us to end, is like between this week and next week, I implore you to kind of take a look at like what your feed looks like and the feed of those around you, and really recognize that like going back is not an option. So how do we push forward in a new way? And you can really dive into that and learn a lot more by attending Shanna's event. You can find the link to it. I'm going to change the link in my bio to your event, and the link in her bio is the event. It is a sliding scale. You're trying to make it accessible for everybody. So please definitely take a look at that. You've got your marching orders, everybody, because that's what this is. March, run, protest. Like, this is real. This is like life happening, history happening. Like, what side are you going to be on? Shanna, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, I could cry. I couldn't be more grateful that you would come on my show, especially for the first episode back. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And I also like the end here. Action items. We ended with some action items.
Yes, people, sign up. That's your action item. Action is love. Thank you, Shanna.
Thank you.
All right, guys, it's been a full hour. I can't believe you're all still here with me. Whoever is still left, I love you all. All of you seeing in the comments, like, I'm so beyond grateful for all of you joining again. Remember, if this show made you smile, if it brought you a little joy, if it made you think, that's what we're going to be doing. And that's what this is. And I'm going to be using my voice because it's what I can do. And I appreciate you all. I love you all for sticking with it. Thank you, Shanna, for coming on my show. And action. That's the word of the day, week, year, century. Love you all. Thank you so much. Bye. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching. To subscribe to my channel, click here. And to watch more videos, click here. Be sure to like, comment, and hit the bell so you get notified every time I upload a video.